In our top story, police in Kenya have arrested a medical student with suspected links to two women in Uganda that are now under police custody. There are reports linking the arrested suspects to Islamic State. Police are mum about the arrests at the moment, but Kenyan media reports that the man arrested in Nairobi planned to unleash a biological attack. For the latest on this unfolding story, we are now joined live by our Ugandan correspondent, Julius Mugambwa, live from Kampala. A very good evening to you and thank you for joining us. Now, initially, the police did not provide details as to how they discovered or foiled the alleged terror plot. Have they released any further details?
As far as we know, I was speaking earlier to the spokesperson of police, Freddy Nanga. He couldn't give me much details, but he told me working in the line of regional counter-terrorism, Uganda, Kenya and Tanzania, together with Rwanda, they've been sharing counter-terrorism intelligence, and this is what they followed to get the two female suspects that were arrested. Now, what we'll know is that the two female suspects that have been arrested are believed to be students at one of the public universities here in Kampala.
Can you tell us any more about the reported links between the suspects and the Islamic State militant group?
Talking about the Islamic State group, this information was more from the Kenyan side, and the Ugandan side was a little hesitant sharing some of this information because they believe at this point it's more of a classified investigative information. But when I was trying to speak more with the spokesperson of police, he told me that they have a lot of intelligence, and what they the most important thing right now is that they have both suspects in custody. They are doing the interrogations on this side, and at the same time they're doing the interrogations on the Kenyan side. So they are marrying this information together to bring this evidence against these people to see if indeed they subscribe to the Islamic State group.
Julius, IS recruiters seem to seek out medical students. Why is that?
We cannot conclude on that point when the police say that these people were planning to unleash a biological attack. Possibly they are trying to exploit some of the loopholes within the security in the region, the security in Kenya and the security in Uganda, because previously in Uganda they've used a tourist van to bring in explosive here that killed more than 70 people. And possibly they do not want to use the same tactic, because they possibly believe that then the security is alert when it comes to border points, and they are trying to go to these students who are vulnerable. They may be looking at them as being vulnerable, and maybe security is putting much concentration on other areas and neglecting the academics, neglecting the medical sector. So maybe it is just the changing face of terrorism, and they are looking at now science.
In the past, Uganda, like Kenya, has suffered terror attacks mostly linked to Al-Shabaab, but now Islamic State. How much is known about the activities of the group in both countries?
The countries surrounding Somalia, yes, it's true, they've faced terror attacks. And now the biggest group, whenever there will be any terrorist attack, the first group to come out and claim responsibility would be Al-Shabaab. But this is not without mention that there are other groups that are operating. The rebels in Congo, who are believed to subscribe to the Al-Qaeda, which is a terror group. But the suspects that have been arrested, yes, there are reports that link them to the IS, and we are not very sure of how much they operate, how much they have penetrated into the East African region, and maybe later when police does its investigations and go ahead with the interrogation, that's when they will explain more to the public, to tell us more about how the IS is operating and who is vulnerable and how vigilant the public is supposed to be to stop these attacks.
That was our Ugandan correspondent, Julius Mugambwa, live from the capital, Kampala. Peter?